Hey guys, so we just got the news today that Alec Baldwin and the set of Rust have settled with Halyna Hutchins' family for an undisclosed amount, and that just happened today. And there's a few reasons why they would settle. And so this is the civil case, not the criminal case. So there's two separate things. You got the criminal case and the civil case. And so on the civil side, Halyna Hutchins' family has sued for wrongful death against Alec Baldwin, the set of Rust, and a few others. And the criminal case is completely separate. That's where the state brings charges. And so that we haven't got to yet. We talked about it in the last video. But in this video, on the civil side, they have Alec Baldwin, Halyna Hutchins, and the rest of the set have entered into a settlement. And so what are settlements made up of? First of all, this settlement is confidential, which means we will not know. It will not be disclosed. And most settlements are confidential that settle outside of the court, just because a lot of the insurance companies don't want people to know how much they're paid, and some plaintiffs don't want other people to know how much they're paid. Maybe their family members will come asking them for money. But there's quite a few reasons why you might want a settlement confidential. Usually the defense pushes more for it than the plaintiffs do, but so we will not get to know how much this settlement was for. So what is a settlement really when you're talking about a civil case like this? It's really whatever the defense is willing to pay for this and whatever the plaintiff is willing to accept. And so wherever those two meet, that's where the settlement is. So obviously that's what happened in this case because they did end up settling. And another good question is, are settlements good or are they bad? And really, for the most part, they're good. Sometimes it may feel like some parties are settling or paying too much. One of the first reasons to settle is finality. It ends the case. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't have to pay lawyers anymore. It's done. And another reason is there's no risk. If you take it to a jury, you don't know what's going to happen. Or even if you're still in court and not to a jury yet, to trial, usually the defense files a motion for summary judgment, and there's a chance that your case could get poured out even before getting to a trial. And so those are two reasons why it might be helpful, might be a good idea to settle. Another one is to get outside of the public eye. In this situation with Alec Baldwin, obviously it was on a very large scale, a lot larger scale than a lot of personal injury cases. And so they had incentive to get it outside of the public eye. Another good reason to settle is no more attorney's fees. So on the defense, in this situation, the defense is probably paying for their attorneys hourly, which means the longer the case goes on, the more that they're going to have to pay. On the plaintiff side, it is a contingency fee, and usually at each stage it increases. So for example, the customary rates are usually 33.33% before filing a lawsuit, 40% after filing a lawsuit, and 45% after pre-trial. So when you're going to a trial, it's usually 45%. Now, obviously, it depends on what type of case it is, but usually at each step, pre-litigation, before you file a lawsuit, then litigation, and then trial, usually the fees increase with what stage they're at because it does increase the amount of work and the risk that they take. And so the plaintiff side, the plaintiff lawyers get paid a percentage of whatever the settlement is. And so the sooner that they can get it settled, the sooner they get paid. Now, if they take it to trial, they could get even more, but that's also an incentive to get it worked out as well. And there's a few quotes in relation to today's settlement. Some of them made some public quotes. Matthew Hutchins said, "We have reached a settlement subject to court approval for a wrongful death case against the producers of Rust, including Alec Baldwin and Rust Movie Productions, LLC. As a part of this settlement, our case will be dismissed." So whenever there's a settlement, that ends it. There won't be a trial, and the case is dismissed. This is still Matthew. The filming of Rust, which I will now executive produce, will resume with all the original principal players on board in January 2023. So that's really interesting that Matthew Hutchins now has a role as an executive producer of this. And that might be part of the settlement agreement. You can really throw a lot of different things in a settlement agreement. because it's just a contract. You can put lots of different things in there. So that might have even have been part of the agreement to settle, is that Matthew is now one of the executive producers. I haven't seen that, but I don't see why not. He also goes on to say, I have no interest in engaging in recriminations or attribution of blame to the producers of Mr. Baldwin. All of us believe Halyna's death was a terrible accident. I am grateful that the producers and the entertainment community have come together to pay tribute to Halyna's final work. So he came out and said, all of us believe Halyna's death was a terrible accident. Honestly, that could have been part of the settlement agreement too, is that Matthew comes out and says that this was an accident. Again, there can be a lot of different things in a settlement agreement. But the fact that he just comes out and says that it was a terrible accident could help those that might be incriminated in the criminal case or charged in the criminal case, because other people are saying it's an accident. So that could be some type of strategy, and even more reason that they might have wanted to settle so soon, especially before charges are brought. Another quote this is Alec Baldwin's attorney. Throughout this difficult process, everyone has maintained the specific desire to do what is best for Halyna's son. We are grateful to everyone who contributed to the resolution of this tragic and painful situation. And the attorney for the Rust Movie Productions, LLC, said, we are pleased the parties came together to resolve this matter, which, subject to the court approval, marks an important step forward in celebrating Halyna's life and honoring her work. So they've all come out and kind of said some good things about the movie, about Halyna Hutchins, about really moving forward. And so how does this play into the criminal case? Obviously, there's still criminal charges that could come down against Alec Baldwin and the other players, but who knows if they will at this time. Again, they're completely separate. This could play a role in that everyone's moving forward, and so might as well not charge Alec Baldwin. It could also, obviously, Matthew Hutchins said it was a great accident, and so it's hard to charge someone with intentional crime when it is an accident. You can still charge them, and be harder to prosecute. So although the civil case is settled, that still does not resolve the criminal case. And so we'll keep you updated. If you want to follow along what's happening, hit that subscribe button and you'll get the notification whenever the next one comes out.